will try to understand about the course structure, how many course which basically offer by Palo Alto Networks. Okay, we are going to explore that one, as well as I'll be explaining you topic by topic what are the topics that we are going to cover and what we are having a limitation. Okay, so before we gonna start, we are going to understand about the infra or the internet, how exactly it is. Okay, so let me share my screen, guys, and then we will start. Yes, yes, I have not shared my screen. I'm going to share it now. Okay, give me a moment. Can you see my screen, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, guys, as you can see, okay, we will talk about that particular question. Okay. Now, if you want to explore what are the certification will be offered by Palo Alto, you can basically go to that particular URL, which I am going to share with you guys in the chat. Okay, you guys can just open the chat section, and basically I'll put it for everyone in the meeting. Okay, so you can just open that particular link and you will be into this particular, and then from there you can basically have a look on what are the certifications will be offered by Palo Alto Networks. Okay, now basically we are going to filter based on the certification type. Okay, now if you want to become a cloud security engineer, so you can do a Prisma certified cloud security. Okay, if you want to go into cyber security fundamentals, you can go with entry technician cybersecurity engineer. We are going to focus on this particular area where the network security comes in. Okay, and we have PCNSC, we have PCNSA, and we have PCSFE. Okay, now basically the main certification that we are targeting for is the PCNSC. PCNSA is basically a combination of, like, if I want to explain you over here, this is how it is. Okay. So for an example, this PCNSA will basically cover only firewall. Okay. In this course, only firewall is there. But if I focus on PCNSE, I have to focus on firewall, plus I have to focus on Panorama, and plus I have to focus on troubleshooting part, right? And you can go directly give this examination. There is nothing that we have to complete this PCNSA and then we have to move on to PCNSC. No, not like that. You can directly go and give the examination for PCNSC. Okay. And this is the newer certification which has come from Palo Alto side. This is for cloud engineer basically. So if you want to deploy a Palo Alto firewall on the cloud, like maybe on AWS, or maybe on Google Cloud or Azure, how you have to do it, what are the options that is available, how you are going to configure it, how can you secure your cloud, basically the deployment of the firewall on the cloud. Okay, you can do that. But our focus or our main center of attraction will be on PCNSC. Okay, so our course has been designed um, to go with PCNSE. Okay, so and if you want to move move further, or let's say if you are interested after completing this course, if you are interested into security operations, like finding the DOS attacks or any threats in the network, then you can go for this remediation analyst. Okay. Or if you want to become an automation engineer, you can basically do these certifications. Okay. So this is all the certifications what Palo Alto offers, and you can basically go with that. Okay. So currently we are going to focus on PCNSE side. Okay. If you have any questions related to certificate, maybe you can reach out to me during the end of the session. Okay. So we are going to finish all the topics first, like what are the content, and then we can have a Q&A session. Okay. So let's move on, guys, and we'll talk about how exactly an internet works. Okay. So let's move on to a diagram first. So internet, okay, this is, so in every webinar, whenever I do, I'll start with this particular map, okay, so that we can have a visualization that how exactly the internet is connected. Now, if you see over here, okay, right now we are in India, right? So if you want to explore how exactly our internet is connected, so we have some of the locations like Mumbai, as you can see over here. This is our internet breakout. So if these things goes down, or let's say if we are unable to reach from this particular locations, or if something goes wrong into this backbone internet breakouts, India is basically not connected to internet, and you will not be able to access any of the resources or any of the websites which is hosted basically not in India, outside the India. Okay. So our whole internets are connected through cables, okay, and the cables will be underlying within the sea. Okay, there are few companies which is taking care of that particular cables, which is basically connected from one country to another country. Okay, they'll go down if something goes wrong, and the cable they go down, they'll fix it and they'll come back. Okay, so this is how the internet, it is not that the internet connected through satellite. No, it is not. Okay, so this is what we need to understand, and let me show you guys that how that particular C cabling works, so that you can visualize those things. Internet. So now see this. This is how the cables will be connected, and this is how those engineers will be going. If something goes wrong, they will go down and they will basically fix these things. Okay, and this is how this on practical images. This is how the cables will be. Okay, and this is how the internet connectivity is. Okay, now let's move on to the slides, guys, and let's get started with our webinar for today. Okay. So before we understand how exactly the firewall came into the market, or what is the evolution of the market firewall, let's understand how that internet got evolved. So as you guys know about the ARPANET, how the US militaries, they wanted to communicate to each other during the war. They have actually invented this ARPANET, and then ARPANET becomes the basically a sharing medium from one device to another device, right? And after that, it started with our sharing with slowly with a room, and then they started with building, and then started with internet and all those things. Then after that, the era has come for www. Okay, then we can see Yahoo, and nowadays we are going into applications, right? So all our internets are evolving from a single piece of communication to now an application, right? So as these things are evolving, the threats are also getting involved, right? So if something good is happening with that, particularly parallelly, the bad things will also get started happens. Okay, so to protect that particularly, we need a firewall. Now why we need a firewall? Because let's say if we have an organization, we work for any kind of company or even for your own security, right? Let's say if somebody is stealing your information or using that particular information to do something else, right? So that is also a threat. And even for a larger company, they are basically dealing with a lot of sensitive information, or they have a trade secrets, or they are dealing with a lot of huge monies. So to protect that particular network or their informations, we need a firewall. Okay, so now the firewall started at in 1989. Okay, and it was a very simple firewall, which is basically which understands or which blocks based on some certain parameters, right? We'll talk about that particular parameter. Now that particular firewall started with us, which basically understand few of the parameters, like in OSI model, if you try to understand, it understands about layer 3, and then it started with layer 4. Nowadays, whatever firewall that you see, it understands your layer 7 applications as well, because the internet is getting evolved, right? Because the internet is going to applications. So the firewall needs to understand the application. Then in the application, the bad thing can happen, right? They can steal your data as well, right? So to protect, we need to we need a firewall which can understand your application behavior as well, right? So that is the reason we need this firewalls which can understand your applications, right? Now, why we need a firewall? Okay, as we understand about it, let's understand why we need to learn Palo Alto. Okay, as you can see, a gardener is basically a organization which basically test the performance or test the firewalls, which basically how they performs during the security threat or during some certain situation. So Palo Alto ranks the one. Okay, that is the reason we basically focuses, and the opportunity will be larger if the firewalls are coming in the first place. So a customer will have more trust on that particular devices. Okay, and they will basically buy those device, right? So if you understand those devices which basically ranks in the report first, you have more opportunity to basically work on that particular devices. Okay, and once you understand a device properly, you can basically understand the other firewalls as well without any major issues, right? I'm not saying that it will be same, but there will be a lot of options and other ways, flows or packet flow will difference will be there, but it will not have much difficulty to understand other firewalls. Okay, so if in the reports, if Palo Alto is coming every time for in the first place, right? So you have the opportunity, the more clients will be there, the more opportunity will be there for you to basically understand that particular firewall and configure the firewalls, right? Now, as we understand as a company, the Palo Alto Networks, basically we are going to explore about the company in the upcoming sessions. But for today, I wanted to tell you that the Palo Alto Networks has their some products, right? And those products will be divided into multiple segments, right? As you can see over here, and you have data lake as well. Now, why this structure has been made? Let's understand this. Okay, the reason behind structuring all this information or structuring all this different reasons, because our networks are basically shifting from on-prem to the cloud, right? So a company which is only focusing on on-prem, they cannot successful, right? They have to focus on some other area, other part as well. As Palo Alto is basically providing a complete security solution, okay? So he has to make that particularly. So we have something called as Stata, we have something called as Prisma, and we have something called as Cortex. Now, the reason, or we are going to discuss all these things in a detailed way in upcoming session, but right now I'll tell you the Stata is basically focuses on our firewalls. Okay. So firewalls, if I say, what does it mean? Our Palo Alto firewalls and Panorama. Okay. And it focuses on your not on on-prem devices, even the virtual devices which can be placed on cloud as well. Okay, so basically focusing on firewall and Panorama, and this is our center of attraction during the course. Okay, now if I talk about Prisma, Prisma basically secures your cloud. Okay, now, if I tell you that Prisma is basically whatever that is happening on the cloud, like if you want to maintain compliance, and if you want to secure the applications or the virtual devices on the cloud, the Prisma is the solution. Okay, and even if you want to get a firewall on rent, right? Let's say how we are getting the servers on rent, right? From AWS or Azure or something, right? Same way we can get our rented firewall from Palo Alto Network as well, which I'm going to explain that how it will happen. Okay. Now the last is Cortex. It is basically monitoring your network, right? So monitoring in network, like any threats or any kind of suspicious traffic that is coming in your environment, or let's say if you want to automate something in your network, you can basically go with the Cortex services. Okay. Now all these devices basically generate logs, and logs can be put into this data lake. Okay, so you can get a service from Palo Alto Networks that I want to store my logs or my informations to data lake. I can basically do this. Okay, so I can pour all my logs into this particular data lake, and later I can use that particular space with storing something, not storing something else. Basically, we will be focusing on putting all the logs into the data lake, right? So this is what, and this is the structure of all the segments of Palo Alto networks. Okay. Till here, if you have any questions, guys, please let me know. Or else, if you have any other questions, like after this, I'll be explaining about the content of the courses. Okay. Till here, I have covered about whatever the firewall is, how the evolution is, how the structure of the Palo Alto networks is. So, if you have any questions, let me know. Or else, we are good to.
Hello, Vikas.
Yes, yeah.
Is there any abbreviation for Strata, Prisma, Cortex?
Is there any?
Abbreviation or any meaning for
Meaning is like, see, there is nothing called as meaning, but Strata is basically that focuses on securing the enterprise. Okay, that you can see over here, securing the enterprise. Okay, securing the cloud and securing the future. That you can think about a abbreviation, right? So enterprise security, that will be done by your firewall. Okay, security, securing the cloud is basically maintaining the compliance and securing your virtual devices and all, or data and all, right? And future is basically your threat, or detecting a threat, or dealing with that particular threat, or maybe doing an automation of it.
No, is there any technical meaning or any general meaning for that word strata, prisma?
Nothing like that basically. That is not any technical or abbreviation for that is not there, but you can basically see all this whatever.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions, guys?
So Vikas, my name is Vijay. So
Hi
this
Vijay.
batch is, yeah, awesome. So this batch is
Mhm.
going to be like from the scratch starting, right? Uh,
You are asking about the when the batch will get started, is it?
no, it's like definitely the batch will start, but it will start from the scratch, right? Basics, right? Because see, I'm not from the firewall background. Okay, to
Mm-hmm.
be
Mm-hmm.
to be frank with you, since
Okay.
last 10 years, I'm working in routing switching data centers. So
Mm-hmm.
I have not been the part of any firewall. So I have joined this batch. For the it's like Palo Alto. If it start from the scratch basics, then it will be good for me.
Yeah, nice question. Basically, I'll tell you. So
Because sir,
which
it's like
I
I had joined
was about to.
earlier classes also here, but it's been like
Mhm.
they have started from Panorama, and they have started from other things because all our experienced guys they have worked with. But I'm not
Mhm.
the experienced guy, so I just want to start from I just want to join the batch who is willing to start from the scratch.
Yeah. Okay, so let me tell you guys, I was about to tell you about the end of this particular session.
Hmm.
So you should have a fundamental understanding of network. So if I say fundamental, you should know what is a protocol, okay? What is TCP? What is UDP? What is LAN? What is WAN? You should know about the basics, right? So once you understand the basics, understanding the firewall will be easier. Okay. Now, if you join the firewall classes, and if I start explaining you some of the concept, like first 2 3 days will be understanding about the devices, the company, and all those things, right? So during that time, you can basically go through all this fundamentals. Maybe you can just read about the fundamentals of CCNA, okay, and then we can start. There is no problem. I'll because the firewall which I'm going to start, it will be very basics, okay. So I'll be starting from the scratch, but you should know about the fundamentals of the network, right? If you are asking about what is ARP or what is TCP, what is handshake, how does a TCP handshake works, then it will be difficult you to understand about the firewalls. Okay.
Yes, sir,
And
that's a fine. It's like obviously we should be knowing this all these things,
yeah, yeah,
but like
of
in
course.
the firewall perspective,
Yeah, it
you
will
have
be from the
you
scratch.
yeah, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Because earlier batch, as I mentioned, right, it's like
Mhm.
it was out of my head. It's like
I totally
they have
understand
started.
that particular part. Yeah.
Yeah, so since last 1 month, I'm struggling the same thing. I keep on joining demo batch, but still, it's like I'm not
Yeah,
finding the
we'll
exact.
cover that. No
Yeah,
worries. Yeah.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, guys. So let's start, and let me tell you about what are the course or what are the content, what are the topics that we are going to cover. Let's discuss about it. Okay. So first we'll understand about the product of the Palo Alto Firewall. As I was explaining about the startup Prisma and Cortex, we'll discuss about the products of it. Like what are the products of startup, what is product of Prisma, which we are going to understand about it. Right, and then how exactly a firewall works, what is the packet flow, like how when the traffic enters into Palo Alto firewall, how it basically process the firewalls. It checks the rules, it checks the NAT thing, or it checks the application ID or content ID. How exactly it checks, we are going to understand that as well, right? And the difference between the control plane and the data plane or the management plane, whatever that you can think of, right? And Palo Alto Firewall is basically a flexible device, right? We can basically set this particular device in any of the condition or any of the requirement, because the interfaces, right? It can become a L2 interface, it can become a L3 interface, it can basically become a V-wire interface, it can become a tap interface. We can make that particular interface as sub interface, tunneled interface, aggregate interface, loopback interface, and there are so many other ways we can basically configure those interfaces. So as I was saying about the flexibility, yes, it is very much flexible. You can put, or you can understand the requirement of the network, and basically you can put those or you can configure those interfaces, right? We'll understand about the how can we basically configure the interface management profiles, and how can we deal with SSL or TLS profile. So what I'm trying to say is, um, the initial configuration management. So let's say, for example, how can we ping that interface? Let's say it's a LAN interface. How can we enable the ping? How can we configure a SSL profile so that whenever somebody is logs in, or whenever somebody is sending a traffic, or maybe we can basically understand about the SSL profile of the device. Okay, what is the initial configuration when once you log into Palo Alto Firewall? The first time you have got a Palo Alto Firewall, what are the initial configuration that you have to perform? That we are going to see that as well, right? Now, once you decide that you want to put the firewall in your network, right? We should basically consider, or we should basically understand whether it should be in high availability ways, whether we should be putting in a single standalone firewall. If we are putting in high availability like HA, then what are the things that we need to monitor? Whether we have to monitor path, whether we have to monitor the device, whether we have to monitor the link, that we are going to understand. And also during the discussion of that, we'll understand how basically the HA works. Okay, which we are going to discuss about it. Okay. Then the security profile, which is basically the main and which is very important topic for this particular course. How we are going to configure the security profiles. Like security, if I talk about security profiles, we have uh, antivirus, spyware, wildfire, and there are so many other things as well, like URL filtering and all, right? How can we basically configure those things, right? Then let's say, for an example, if you are logging into the Palo Alto firewall, okay, what are the controls that you are going to get? Okay, if I say control, meaning that what are the things that you can do? Whether you can change the configuration of security policy, NAT policy, or you cannot do it. So everything can be managed. Now, how that user can be authenticated? It can be authenticated with the radius, it can be authenticated with the local, or how we are going to see that information or those things as well. Then the certificate, or the use of the certificate, like PKI infra, public key infra. So you might have heard about the certificate, like certificates or based authentication, or we go to HTTPS site. So the certificate negotiation, or how the certificate works, we are going to explain how that particular profile can be created. Okay, what is the use of the certificate, how the certificate chains are, everything we are going to understand in this. Okay, and the routing. It doesn't mean that the firewall is the firewall and it cannot do routing. It does the routing and we can do all the routings. Okay. We can do RIP, we can do BGP, we can do OSPF. Okay. Even it supports the redistribution, we can configure the static routing, we can configure the policy based routing. Okay. We can monitor the routes as well. Okay. And we have something called as virtual router in Palo Alto Firewall. So let me tell you a small thing. Let's say we have a router, okay? This router, okay? In this router, we will have only one routing table, right? A global routing table. But if we want, we can have multiple routing table inside the Palo Alto Firewall, which we are going to see in the routing session. Okay?
So it's a kind of a VRF, right?
Yeah, you can say like that. Absolutely. NAT, which is very much important, even if you are connected to Wi-Fi right now, even if you are connected to ISP, still the NAT will be happening. So NAT is very much important because it will be used throughout the network. If you go to ISP, if you're going to an enterprise network, or if you are basically considering your personal network as well, NAT will come into the picture. So NAT is very much important, and we are going to see all the NATs what is possible in Palo Alto Firewall, right? Then side-to-side tunnel. Side-to-side tunnel is what? So let's say, for an example, we have a site in Delhi and we have a site in Mumbai, and if you want to communicate to each other on public network, if they want to communicate their private network to the private network of Delhi from private network of Mumbai, if they want to communicate to each other with the help of site to site VPN, it provides security so that you can securely exchange your messages, right? There are other ways, or like in site to site VPN we have multiple methods which we are going to follow, right? And then configure the service route. Okay. Now, what is basically a service route is basically just understand in this way. For an example, this is our Palo Alto firewall. Okay. Now, this is our MGMT interface. So we will talk about MGMT interface. I have not explained everything. So just understand MGMT. MGMT is management interface. Just think about it. Now, all our traffic, basically, if I talk about radius, if I talk about LDAP, if I talk about TACAX, if I talk about DNS, if I talk about NTP, okay? Now, all my traffic, like it's very, whatever the protocol that I've written, it is very less number. There are so many other protocols are there. By default, it will be go through management interface by default. Let's say for an example, NTP is reachable through WAN interface. To have to change this interface to management to WAN, right? Because WAN is reachable. If that NTP traffic will be going through management interface, it will never reach. Okay. So we have to change that particular routing table, right? So that is the reason we will be changing so that it should reach to NTP through WAN interface. So for that, we are going to configure the routing or the service route, okay, which we are going to understand in a detailed way with all the options which is available. Okay. Now, quality of service, guys. So quality of service is nothing but prioritizing some of the applications. So let's say for an example, Zoom meeting, okay, and file downloading. Okay. Now file downloading, we can wait for, let's say, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, we can wait. But Zoom meeting, let's say if I'm talking right now, you cannot wait 1 to 3 minutes to listen my voice, right? So here urgency is required. right? So we are going to keep quality of service, meaning that we are going to put some of the traffics as well urgent, right? So what I'm trying to say is, if Palo Alto can basically provide quality of service for certain application. So let's say you have WebEx, you have Teams, you have Zoom. Okay, we can say that these applications can be, or we can configure as a quality of service so that it will be faster, right? So I'll show you like how we can configure those quality of service specifically to an application, right? Then the application ID, which is basically very much important, and it is we are going to see. So application ID is basically identifying the application. Identifying the application means, let's say for an example, Facebook. Now Facebook, inside Facebook there are a lot of application which runs on the top of Facebook, right? We have Facebook chat, we have Facebook games, we have Facebook rooms, and there are so many other applications are there which you can control as well. So let's say for an example, you want to load only Facebook page, that's all. You don't want chat, you don't want games, you don't want room or something else, right? You can do that. So you can control those actions, or you can control those things as well, right? So, and there are so many other things as well which we are going to understand in the application ID, right? Then global protect. So you guys might have heard about Cisco AnyConnect. So AnyConnect is what? It's a solution for what? It is a solution for remote users, right? So if you are working from home, you will be connected to the your company network or your enterprise network, right? So in that particularly, you will be using Cisco AnyConnect, connect to your network, and then you can start working, right? You can do that. So in that particular case, the remote solution which Palo Alto provides is Global Protect. The same thing that you can do. There are so many other advancement that has happened, which I'm going to discuss about it once we go to Global Protect, guys. So for now, you just understand that it's a remote solution, which we are going to understand. Okay. Then we can do a decryption. So let's say all our traffic, like it is going to HTTPS, right? So for an example, let's say this is my user and it is going through firewall and it is going through server. Okay. So in this case, what happens? Now, if it is HTTPS connection, it will be secure way, right? They will be building a SSL tunnel and the traffic will be exchanging from this particular client to this particular server. Now, what they are talking, we are not sure because it's going through secure tunnel. Okay, so firewall has no control. Let's say this server can inject any malware into this particular PC. Firewall has no knowledge about it. So to protect it, we are going to do a decryption. So we are going to basically decrypt that particular information. We'll see what is happening, what client is sending, what server is sending. We are going to monitor it and we'll see how we can do that. Okay. Now, wildfire, we are going to also understand how we can configure our understanding of wildfire. So let's say if you are downloading some data or you are uploading some data or somebody sending an email, so email attachment has to be scanned or the file which you are downloading has to be scanned, whether it is a genuine file or not, firewall has any issues or it has any virus or it has any malware or something. So to protect all those from that particular thing, we have wildfire. Okay. After all this, these are the firewall topics, guys. So whatever I have explained you, these are the firewall topics. Now let's move on to Yeah, Vedan, just give me some time, okay? I'll come back to you, okay? We'll follow all those questions once we go to Q&A sessions, okay? Now, after that, we are going to guys go on mute, please. Okay, thank you. So now, these are the firewall topics, guys, and then we'll move on to Panorama. So now, what is Panorama? Panorama is basically managing the firewall. Let's say you have multiple firewalls. You have multiple locations. So let's say in India, you have 8 locations. In 8 locations, you have, let's say, two firewalls in all the locations. So 16 firewalls. Now, let's say for an example, you want to configure NTP. You want to change the configuration of an NTP. So you are going to change it from logging to all the firewalls. But if you have Panorama, you can just change in the Panorama and you can push the configuration and it will deploy in all the firewalls. So single click, you can deploy to all the, so you are configuring only one time, but it is getting pushed to all the firewalls. So you are going, this is just an example. You can do pretty much everything from Panorama. You can do upgrade, you can do update of antivirus updates, URL filtering updates and all. You can do that, and there are so many other things as well, okay? Now to basically, you have, let's say, Delhi, okay, and you have Mumbai, you have Bangalore. Now there are few configuration which can be different in Delhi, Mumbai and Bangalore, right? Because let's say for an example, the subnets will be different from all 3 locations, right? So in that case, you will be grouping them. So grouping can be done with the help of templates, with the help of device groups, right? That you can see device group. So you can group them, that on this parameters, this firewalls, on this parameter, these are the firewalls. Okay. So you can group them with the help of this device. That is the reason which we are going to understand template and device groups, right? And that's what I was explaining, guys, that you can do pretty much everything. You can do licensing, you can do you can take backup, you can take logs, you can basically install the updates, you can basically go for upgrades, everything. Okay, whatever that you are doing from locally from the firewall, you can do it from Panorama as well. Now, logs, which is basically very much important, guys. Okay. And now you can basically take all the logs from the firewall. So you are sitting at Panorama. Let's say 16 firewalls are there. Okay. Or maybe for an example, 8 firewalls are there. Okay. Now from the 8 firewalls, you are getting the logs in the Panorama. Okay. Now user has given you an IP address. Okay. Now you are not going to logging all the firewalls and searching for the logs. If you are sure about that this firewall is blocking the particular traffic, you can log in and you can check. But if you are not sure, if you are new to the environment, or let's say you don't have any knowledge about it, so you can basically go to the Panorama, you can put the IP address and you can filter with the IP address which user has provided, and you can check which firewall is basically allowing that particular traffic or blocking that traffic. So in a single console, you have all the logs of the firewall, and you are basically filtering, or you can find the logs is by logging into Panorama, right? It is easy to troubleshoot as well, and you can do other things as well. Okay, so you can basically generate the reports like which user is using what, user is basically which user is using which application, or your organization or enterprise uses what, where they are going. You can basically generate those reports as well, right? I'll also explain you that how upgrade should happen from Panorama and from Palo Alto as a standalone, right? Or maybe into H, right? What is the best way to approach this? Okay, and also practically how I have done it. I'll be explaining my experiences as well, right? And then the last one, I told you that three things will be covered: firewall, panorama, and troubleshooting. Now the troubleshooting part. Okay. So in the troubleshooting, we are going to understand about how a troubleshooting can be done with side-to-side VPN. Okay. How can we troubleshoot the interface? Like, let's say whether the traffic is basically coming into the interface, or interface has some problems, where interface has some errors or something like that. How can we do a packet captures? We are going to see those things as well, right? And routing protocols, guys. So as we can configure the routing protocols into the device, we are going to also see how can we troubleshoot the routings as well, whether routes are learning or not, why the routes are not learning. All these things we are going to see. How can we monitor the routes? If the monitoring is not happening, what are the other steps that we can follow, which we are going to see. Okay, as I was explaining about these things, guys, the logs or the reports. So you can generate the reports, the graphs. There are predefined reports will be there in Palo Alto firewalls or panoramas. You can just click on that and you will see those reports as well, right? How can we troubleshoot the global protect, which is basically a remote solution, whether the user are not able to connect, or after connecting they are unable to connect the resources, or client has some problems, which we are going to discuss in the sessions, guys. Okay. NAT is very much important, and troubleshooting of NAT is also very important, guys. So if you are configuring a NAT, and if you don't understand the particular NAT, the complexity of the NAT will be more higher, and you will not be able to troubleshoot that particularly. Okay, so which we are going to troubleshoot that NAT. Security policy, as we understand that how security policy can be configured, which is basically a basic thing. Okay, how can we decrypt, how can we configure a decryption policy, and how we can do a troubleshooting of it, and authentication policy. Okay, and the last is basically monitoring of high availability. What is high availability means? HA, during the HA, whether we should monitor the link, whether we should monitor the device, whether we should monitor the path, which we are going to see during the high availability session. Okay. So this is pretty much what we are going to cover in this session. Okay. So let me tell you one more thing. So whatever time that you see, guys, okay, over here, it is just a time. Okay, it is not that I am going to cover only, or I'm going to stick with but particular time. No, it is not. Okay, we put more, whatever time that we commit, we go beyond that particular time. Okay, so don't worry about that particular time. It's just that you need to understand what is basically is required, or you, when once you understand, like our basically criteria, or our way of doing all these things is basically you understand what we wanted you to understand. Okay, and also how my classes will be happen is like this. So first we'll understand the basic part of any topic. Okay, or it will be a theory class first. Okay, will understand about the theory of that particular topic. Okay, then how we can configure, what is the requirement to configure that particular technology. Okay, so for an example, app id. Okay, so understanding about app id, configuring of app id, and troubleshooting of app id. And I'll be including my experiences as well, like how we can basically troubleshoot that particular app ID, and how exactly it works in real world environment. Okay, so this is what it is for the demo class, guys. I guess Vedanta has raised his hand, so you can, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm just
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah. Yes, yes, you are. Tell me.
Yes. So, after getting the knowledge of all this topic, I will
Mhm.
capable to certify the PCNSC's certification.
Yes, definitely. If you basically see, the thing is, if you are following the topics and if you are doing the practicals as well, okay, you are eligible to do a PCNSE.
And one more thing, sir, can you share this PPT with us if possible?
See, as you have already enrolled for this particular topic, sorry, for this course, you will be getting all these PPTs, whatever PPTs I am going to take or I'll be using for further session. You will have those particular PPTs, and yeah, definitely you will be getting this. Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
Hello, Vikram. My name is Ramesh.
Yes. Hi, Ramesh.
So, how the firewall deployed in cloud? For example, I am sitting in on-premises. If I
Mhm.
deploy firewall in Azure or AWS, how the communication will happen? How it will protect on-premise network? Because cloud is somewhere else and on-premise is in the office. So,
So I'll tell you one thing. If you want to protect the cloud resources, in the cloud we have VMs, right? We have Kubernetes, right? So to protect them, we have a cloud of virtual firewalls. Okay. But if you want to protect your physical environment or physical enterprise network, you should have a either a virtual firewall or either a physical firewall. So you need to understand how the packet flow is. Let's say, for an example, you are protecting a firewall. Okay. So if somebody is coming from outside, the traffic will be filtered at the firewall end, or the traffic is going to the cloud, or it will going to your enterprise. It depends on that particularly. Okay.
oh, for example, I have no,
Mhm.
VPNs configured on firewall, but I'm not. I don't want to deploy that firewall on premises. I want to be secure. That's the reason I deployed in some cloud vendor.
Mhm.
How the communication happens between on-premise? So I must deploy a firewall at physical device at the on-premise, or I can have the cloud firewall also for this
No,
requirement.
see, there are the thing that you have asked is a wide thing. Okay, it cannot be told you in a such a way that only cloud firewall can protect this. Okay, now it understand you need to understand how the bandwidth is, what is the utilization of that particular traffic into that particular area. Okay, so you are saying that I have this cloud firewall here, which is basically deployed in AWS,
Okay.
and we have basically on-prem, and we have our whole network. So the
Yeah.
traffic which is coming from internet, it'll get filtered here, then the traffic will come here, and it will be whether we need firewall in on-prem or not. This is what your question is, right?
Yes, yes, correct.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now here, this is now you need to understand this cloud firewall. With this particular cloud firewall, if you want to protect your on-prem, you can control it. There's no problem. You can filter it. Now, whether the internet breakout or all your traffic are basically getting here, there is no internet over here. Whether the traffic is coming not coming from here,
I have internet in on-premise also.
then in that case, you how you are going to filter whether you are going to send the firewall traffic to this cloud firewall and then you send this traffic to on-prem. This is how the traffic flow will be.
Yes.
If you are
That,
saying if you are saying that whether it's a good design, that you are receiving the traffic on-prem, then you are sending to cloud, and the cloud will filter and will send it to on-prem. Is this the way we we should design the traffic? We should design the enterprise network? No.
I don't know. I'm just asking how.
Yeah, it is. This is that's what I'm telling you. This is just a wide question that you have asked. You need to understand the flow. You need to understand the performance of the particular traffic,
Hello.
latency, which basically increase your latency as well, right? In this particular.
Sir, is it possible if my VMs on the cloud
Mhm.
and on the on-prem network, I just wanted to out my internet traffic for the end user and my VM in the cloud. So the
Yes, yes,
traffic has to be go through the on-prem to cloud for the VM access. I don't want to
definitely.
physically have my VM on the my on-prem, so it has to be on the cloud. So this
Yes, you
separate
can have it.
can, yeah.
See, the thing is, you guys need to understand one very basic thing. Okay. Now, all your questions are basically around this. So, let's say, for an example, this is my network and it is in the cloud. Okay. Now, we have some VMs over here. This VM wants to go to internet, right? Whether we can go, or these VMs can go through the firewalls or not. So, this is firewall. Yes, definitely it will go. See, firewall is a device which basically filter the traffic and forwards the traffic. It is the This is the only work the firewall does. Okay, it is basically how you are placing the firewall, how you are designing the firewall. Accordingly, you can configure the firewall as per the need of the enterprise. Okay, so definitely you, if you have a VM on the cloud and you want to have a breakout in the cloud, not on the you don't want to send this particular traffic to on-prem for the internet. If you want to do it in the cloud, you can basically do it. There is no problem.
Hello, sir.
Yes, yeah.
How the user connected from the global protect reach the on-premise network if I deploy firewall and cloud?
Okay, so yeah, which we are going to explore during the sessions, guys. So these technical questions, right? Until and unless we understand those technology theoretically, that how, what is the, see, every technology has some limitations, every technology has some features, every technology works in a situation. So we need to understand that particular requirement, and then we can answer it. If I answer it broadly, later you will say sir was telling that it has happened but it is not happening here because of some reasons. You need to understand, so which we are going to discuss about this technical stuff once we understand those technology. Okay,
Sir,
yeah, tell me.
any prerequisite for this certification?
There's no prerequisites. You just need to understand this course, and then you can go and give the examination.
Sir, one more question. Is
Yes.
this your course will sufficient to clear certification or any other material to follow to clear the exam?
Okay, to clear this particular exam, I'll give you a book and you need to properly read that. Whatever practical that I'm going to give you, you have to basically perform that particular labs, and you need to understand what I'm trying to say during the class. That's all.
Sir, any approximate cost of the certification in India?
I guess it is INR, if I talk about it, is 12,000 or something. I guess it is one. I guess you can search in the Google. It is not much. Okay, so what is that? PCNSC cost 175 USD. So 175 USD will be having 12, 13,000 like that.
If we practice daily, in how many days we can clear the exam?
It depends on you. How can I say? It depends on your understanding. How can you build that? But I will suggest you guys to go and understand this. Try, or maybe if you're studying the Palo Alto, study at least 2 hours for a day for 45 days regularly. properly understand that, you can basically crack the examination. There's no problem.
What is the duration of this course?
Yeah, this course is basically every day we are going to not every day, sorry. Monday, Friday, sorry, what I'm saying. Saturday, Sunday, 3 hours. So it will be starting from 10 o'clock. Okay, it'll go 1 o'clock. Okay. So every weekend we will be having 6 hours of class. Okay, and mostly it will be finished in like 2 months, or maybe it will go more than that, 2.5 months maybe. Yeah, mostly it will take 2 months. That's all.
Sir, how about the practicals means hands-on?
Yeah, we will be doing the practicals.
No, for after class, if we want to perform a practice in a home,
Hmm.
then
I'll assist you how to create a lab. Okay, I'll help you on that particular part. Okay, I guess NW Kings has a racks as well, so you can talk about how can you get those rack accesses and all. You can also do practice on that particularly.
Sir, from when the session will start?
We'll start from, I'll have a word with internally, like whether we have to start from tomorrow or next week. I'll let you, you guys will get information about it. Mostly it will be starting from tomorrow, I guess. Tomorrow it will be one hour, and after that we'll go with the proper sessions.
Sir, have
Someone
we
messaged
covered
and said
the
regular class will be start from coming week.
Oh, coming week. Then next week it will be. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
no
Um,
worries. Yeah.
Sir, how about the opportunities after finishing this course?
See, it depends on whether you are working right now or you're a fresher.
I'm working.
You are working. You are working in routing switching, right?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely it will grow, and even in your own company as well. Once you understand the firewall, see, you understand about the routing switching, right? Once you understand firewall, you can cover up the firewall things as well, right? So if you understand more of the devices, the opportunity will be more. As simple as that. It's not about firewall or something. The more you understand something, the more opportunity you will be having. And the firewall, if I talk about Palo Alto firewalls, there are so many companies, or I have worked with multiple clients. They are actually moving to Palo Alto, and they have already moved to Palo Alto.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions, guys?
sir,
Okay,
so
guys.
what lab we are going to mean go have to have means I have not if I miss in the slide what lab we will be going to cover.
If you have not seen what are the content of the course, you can basically see it is actually available in YouTube. You can just go through it. It's been already recorded, and once we finish it, you can basically start from the scratch. Like, you can see all the courses, because it'll take more time, or it'll be repetitive for other candidates. So that is the reason I'm not showing right now. But you can just go through the video once you once we finish this particular class. It will be uploaded to YouTube.
Okay, sure.
Hello?
Hmm.
Hello?
Yes, yes.
If it is different to vendors, for example, Fortnite to Forcepoint, we have to learn that is also, or
Learn also in sense like you want to learn Fortinet as well.
no, not like that. If we
Uh-huh.
learn Palo Alto, that is enough for all vendors, or
It
is
is
there any different?
It is not. See, you are basically, let's say you bought a mobile from Samsung and you bought a mobile from any other company like Oppo or something.
Yeah, okay,
It will
okay.
be little different, but the
Uh-huh.
operating or the settings or some other options will be same, right? The basic
Uh-huh.
fundamental will be same, right? Same thing. The
Okay,
concept
okay.
remains the same, only the way of configuration or way of filtering will be little different. That's all.
Okay, thanks. Because of we are using Forcepoint and Palo Alto both are.
Mhm. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining today and thanks for your time. We'll see you soon, guys, into the sessions. Okay, thank you and have a good day.